Can everybody see that?
I can, yes.
Sweet. And we are so much further ahead than I thought we might be. Get rid of these, your lovely faces out of my way. So I do want to thank you for joining me today with this session. I'm Felicia Campbell, and I'm a marketing manager for the CoStars program. If you're a member of the CoStars program, you have likely already participated in a CoStars session. But in today's session, I really want to focus on things that our super users do that really can help you increase your procurement process efficiency as a member. I don't know why I'm tongue-tied this morning, but I am. If you're new to the program, this is also going to be great information for you. And there's more information available at our website, and I'll talk about our website a little bit more later too. But we are found at www.dgs.pa.gov/CoStars. So the first thing I want to talk about is the member profile. And I want to let you know that is of utmost importance to our members and also the CoStars team. It's truly the only resource that we have for our team to connect with the members, to convey important deadlines and program updates that can affect your procurement process. It is the members' responsibility to regularly update their organization's profile to ensure that their information is current. So let's look at a member profile, and we'll talk about the sections and what they mean to you and to our CoStars team. So this first section, there we go, that pertains to the organization. And the address should reflect the street address. Oops, that just went in and out real quick. Sorry, I hit that too fast. Starting again. The address should reflect your street address of your organization, not the PO box. And that's because that section affects an area that auto-populates with your legislative information. And we use that in the analysis of our program. The best practice in populating the email address area of this section is to use an email address that directs to someone in your organization who understands CoStars, and not just the importance of the information that they're receiving, but who does it affect? They might be the only recipient of the information, so they need to be able to ask themselves, who else in my organization needs to know this? Here is where you can define the methods on how you want to be contacted by the suppliers. You are freely able to opt in or out of any of those communications, but we do recommend that you allow for at least email communications because we don't want our members to miss out on special deals that are being offered by the suppliers to our CoStars members. So next we'll look at the contacts area within your organization. So here's where you can indicate who from your organization is associated with your member profile, and also define who is your primary contact. You actually can have several contacts associated with your membership. You're not limited to 3 as it would indicate on the slide you're looking at here. When is a good time to update your member profile? Well, first and foremost, if there's a change to your organization, and that might be if your headquarters moves to a new location, you have a new street address, or think about when you've changed internet providers and your email address might change. Also think about your contacts. If somebody has left the organization, or if somebody's title, last name, email, or contact phone number has changed. And then also when you're defining a new primary contact. A lot of times roles will change, and somebody who was in charge of the CoStars program within your organization may no longer be, and then they're handing it off to somebody else. The other thing that I want to point out is a super user tip of the program is pick a special date, maybe the first day of summer or the first day of winter, to view your profile to ensure that it's current. And I call this your yearly checkup within the CoStars program. So we get calls from time to time from even longtime users who don't remember how to update their profile. So I want to walk you through that. You'll go to www.dgs.pa.gov/CoStars, and you'll select the member information tile. From there, you'll select members area, which will take you into what I call the CoStars members portal, but it's really called the CoStars members area. On the left-hand side, you'll use the CoStars registration/login link. If you have a username and password, you'll log in with your username and password. If you don't yet have a username and password, you'd click on the right-hand side box. It's new user registration. This will take you to the Keystone login site where you'll set up your credentials. You'll create a username and password. Once that's done, you'll return back to this page, enter your login information, and that will bring you to this page. From here, you can do three different things. The first section is if you see in that select area, oops, there you go. If you see your organization there, you'll select it and just click on update membership details. If you don't see that pre-populate with your information, that means that your member account or your credentials are not associated yet with your member profile. So that's where you'll use the second area. And under step one is where if you know your member ID, you can just type that ID number in or start typing the name of your organization. And then your pop-up box will show up and then you'll select the appropriate organization. And then in step number 3, you'll click on the checkbox, which then certifies you as an authorized representative of that organization that you just selected. And then you would click on the submit association request, and you only have to do this one time. So now you should then be able to see in that first box at the top, your organization pop up, and then you can update your member profile from there. If you receive credentials from Keystone Login, but you haven't registered your organization yet for membership, that's where you would use the last box. And in this area, you would click on the, I think it's new CoStars membership. That'll take you to a page where you fill out the information and then save it, and that will send to us, and we'll go through the approval process. And that process takes about 2 to 3 days. You may hear from us during that approval process. We might need to gather more information from you to verify eligibility requirements. And then you'll receive an automated email, whether you were approved or denied. And if you're denied for whatever reason, in that email, it'll explain why that is, whether whoever applied has a duplicate membership that they forgot about, or if they're a supplier and they have a completely different process, or if you don't meet membership eligibility requirements. So
Alicia?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, we just had a question come in from Sharon. She asked, do the CoStars memberships expire?
They do not.
Okay, great.
They do not. And we do have a lot of members who lapsed in using their membership, so they've forgotten about it. So if you're ever in question because you don't know a member ID anymore, just give us a call. We can look you up, give you your information, and chances are, if you haven't used it for a while, you'll probably have to go through Keystone Login to get new user credentials and then go through the association process. But we're always here to help. And thank you for letting me know when we have questions. Because I'm at work, I don't have my big rig that I have at home, so I can't see the window right now because of my presentation. So I apologize for that.
No
so
problem.
Feel free to interrupt anytime you want. So one of the questions that we receive regularly from our members is how to find a product or service. And Mindy, I think you might have even stated that when we first started talking about doing this presentation, that you wanted an update as well.
Yes,
so
thank you.
You're welcome. So I wanted to focus on that, and really for purposes of being a super user. On the left-hand navigation panel, once you're in that membership, what I call portal, you'll have a choice of search contracts. And you can choose CoStars exclusive contracts in your search, or you can choose statewide contracts. But in our first demo today, we're going to start with the CoStars exclusive contracts. You can start with either one. And just so you know, there are parallel contracts on both sides or both types of contracts. So we do recommend that you do searches on both sides to see what your options are for suppliers. And that gives you more negotiation power, the more suppliers you can gain quotes from. So once we click on, please for to change, there we go. Once we click on the CoStars, this will bring us into the search window for CoStars exclusive contracts. And for our demo today, we're going to use CoStar 17 waste, recycling, and materials handling containers. So we would select, select that contract number. And we can get as detailed as we want in our search. We can even specify a particular manufacturer or dealer or just the contract number itself. Less is often more when we're doing a search. So if you net no results when you do a search, you might want to widen that search criteria up. In fact, I just had this happen yesterday. I was at our last day of our procurement expo and somebody was asking about searching. So I walked them through how to do it. And she was saying what she wanted as search criteria. And it was so specific that nothing came up. So I said, well, let's not look by county that they're located in. And we got, I think, 11 results or 17 results or something. And she said, well, I can work with that. So that's just an example of how sometimes when you're very specific, you don't get anything. So I'm choosing a category under CoStar 17, commercial and industrial waste compactors for our search. And once you've picked all of the search criteria you want to search by, this button, the search button is hidden behind this window, but there is a search button there on the right-hand side. You would just hit search and it would take you to a list of suppliers. So from this list, you can dial into several details. So the first thing would be the contract overview, and that's located in that column. That is the same exact information for the entire list of vendors that are under that contract name. The next one over would be the vendor contract. That's specific to individual suppliers in the list. So that's the one you're going to want to open multiple versions of to see what the offer is. So as we go across, you'll see the vendor contract, contract terms, contract renewal. We also provide the commodity specialist contact information who's in charge of each individual contract. So the first thing we'll look at is the contract overview. This will give you an overview of the overall contract. And as you can see in the large description box at the top, this overview defines the CoStar 17 and what that includes, what is part of that contract. Also in the description box at the bottom, you can see that CoStar's members are allowed to purchase jointly to capitalize on quantity discounts if that supplier offers that option. It also tells you the contact information and it provides the email address, not just the phone number of the CoStar's commodity specialist who's in charge of the contract. And also you can see that the instructions to order is you would order directly from the supplier that you want to use, and you would use a purchase order and refer to the CoStar's contract number that you're purchasing from in order for this to receive CoStar's discounted pricing. And this is the same process through all CoStar's contracts. We do recommend that you print the contract overview and keep it in your records in the event that you're audited. Also in this overview, you'll see in the document an overview list by supplier, which includes individual vendor contract numbers, their product categories, and manufacturers, as well as the contract award date and expiration date. What you won't find in the overview is anything to do with pricing or products offered. So you'll just see on the page that you're looking at right here, that's just one supplier. As you scroll down, you'll see the other ones. That service area takes up so much space. So now if we want to see what the supplier's pricing and ancillary services are, we'll now look at the vendor contract. This will give you detailed information on the vendor and their contact information. And they might even supply different contact information for where to send POs and also where to send payments. So that is all listed on the first page. We ask every one of our suppliers on contract some important questions that also can help our member decide who their top supplier options are going to be for quoting. And I always describe this questions page as it really gives our members a nice snapshot of what doing business with this particular supplier is going to look like. So it'll ask questions like, does their pricing include shipping? Question number 4 asks if the member can get extra savings through prompt payment discounts. I noticed this supplier does not offer that, but on question number 6, I do see that they have late payment penalties. So that's something that the member would want to keep in their mind as they're, thinking about who they want to get quotes from. And then also question number 7 asks each supplier if they are willing to negotiate. And even if they were to say no on that question, it never hurts to try to negotiate further because they can change their minds during the quoting process. And we let all of our suppliers know that our members are eager to negotiate. The next page is where they define where in the Commonwealth they plan to provide products and services. So this one is chosen statewide, but they can handpick certain counties. This next page is where they indicate any ancillary services and pricing that they offer for those services. These services must be purchased at the same time as the product. They're not available as add-ons after the purchase date. And also these services must be purchased in conjunction with products purchased from the contract. They're not standalone. Some of our CoStar's exclusive contracts do offer standalone services as part of the scope. This one, however, does not have that kind of service. Also found in the vendor contract are the product categories and the manufacturers that they offer in those categories. So I see from this sheet, all of the product categories within the scope of this contract are offered except for shredders, and they've listed out the manufacturers for those categories they offer. And last but not least, we find the pricing information. So suppliers can offer 3 different types of pricing standards. They can offer a percentage discount off of the manufacturer distributor's most recently published price list, and that list must be included with their bid document that you can see here. They could offer instead their cost plus a percentage markup, and they do not have to provide proof of their pricing or proof of their cost unless the supplier or the member asks for that during the quoting process. And then lastly, they could choose custom pricing where they would attach a custom price list. So this particular supplier is pricing their product at a 20% markup over their cost. And the pricing that is offered on this bid document is a ceiling price for our CoStar's members. The supplier can offer lower pricing in quoting and negotiations, but they cannot offer anything higher than what they state here. Some of our suppliers will offer the product listing of what they offer, but others will provide a website that you'll go to see what their product offering is. So now you've chosen several suppliers that you're thinking you want to negotiate with on that side, but if there is a parallel contract on the statewide side, you'll want to take a look at that and see what your other options are as well. So we go back to that members area page, and this time we select statewide contracts to search from. And the reason I'm going through both is, as you can tell, this is a different search method. And that's because the statewide contracts are held on the eMarketplace website, where the CoStar's exclusive contracts are held within that members area. And the reason for that is statewide contracts are available for use by the state agencies, and they have nothing to do with CoStar's. So their repository for this information is eMarketplace. And excuse me, I'm getting dry mouth. So when you're at eMarketplace and you've if you get to the main page, this will take you right to the search page by the method that we went in. But if you just call up on a browser eMarketplace, you'd have to hit search contracts on that main page. So this is the search contracts page. In the green bar, you can see that there is a link to take you right back to the members area. And also on the right-hand side in the green bar, there's a tips and tricks link, which will give you a document that walks you through the searching state contracts process. So if you get stuck, that is a great resource for you. So now we're going to look at how to search. So just like in the CoStar's contracts area, you have different options on your searching. My 2 go-tos are description and keywords. The difference between those are description are words that are found in the title of the contract, where keywords are words that we put into the system per contract that we thought might be the ones that our users think of when they're trying to find something. So we don't always hit every single one of them, but we do a pretty good job, I think. So I think for this demo today, I have chosen a keyword search, and because there's no specific recycling contract on the statewide side, I decided this time to search for lubricants because I thought maybe this is something that you would need in some of the equipment that you use. I do want to point out a little tip and trick here. I was helping a member recently. He wanted to look for a product and he couldn't find it. And he tried searching and searching. And so he called me. And so I tried to do a search based on, keywords that I thought would be useful. And I wasn't finding anything either. So as I talked through him, they'll call with products a lot that I don't even know what they are. So have no idea how they're used. So as I talked to him a little bit more, I found out that product would be used in a garage setting. So I thought, all right, I'll do a keyword search for garage. And that popped up the NASBO Vehicle Lifts and Garage Associated Equipment contract, which had what he was looking for. So sometimes think outside the box if you're putting in keywords and getting nothing. But a lot of times if you do that, if you exhaust all your resources, you're going to find something. If not, call us and we can help you through when you're not able to find what you're looking for. So, all right, now we're searching keywords for lubricant. And here's the list that we get. So the first thing that you want to pay attention to in eMarketplace is the CoStars column. Any supplier that's listed as a no there has not authorized the use of the pricing and conditions of the statewide contract for CoStars users. So you cannot purchase from them. But the ones that indicate yes, they have participated in the program and they are offering the same pricing terms and conditions that they're offering to the statewide agencies. And for those of you who need clarity on the difference of the two types of contracts, because I do get this question a lot, CoStars exclusive contracts are for use by only the CoStars members. Those are created based on what we find out from our members are their biggest needs. And in many cases, they're not available on the statewide side. The statewide contracts, however, are ones that are created primarily for the use of the state agencies, but there is some crossover in needs with our CoStars members. And many of our CoStars contracts are what we call CoStars enabled, which means that a supplier is allowed on those kinds of contracts to participate in the program. They are not mandatory to do that, but they can elect into the program. And that's this CoStars column that you're looking at here shows you who has elected in and who has not. Okay, so what we can do here is look at the overview, just like we did over in the CoStars area. So we'll look at that. This contract overview will provide DGS contact information and the process to purchase, just like we saw on the other side. It looks a little different, but it's really giving you the same information. Once we've reviewed the overview, you'll click on the second tab at the bottom to see what the contact information is for each supplier. Again, remember, all suppliers on this contract are listed on this page. So you need to go back to that CoStars column and make sure you're only dealing with the vendors that are applying to your needs. And then to see the list of products available, we click on the price tab sheet. So if your new search provided you with a better quote than you received from your initial search with a CoStars exclusive supplier, you can go back between those different suppliers and kind of play their quotes off of each other to get that best value for you. Once you've picked your supplier, then you submit a purchase order with the contract number on it, just like you would with the CoStars exclusive contracts. Next, I want to show you a resource that CoStars super users utilize to help them identify their best value when obtaining the recommended 3 to 4 quotes. So what I'm going to show you is called the Member Quote Kit. And you'll, again, start off at www.dgs.pa.gov/CoStars, and you'll click on the Member Information tile. Within member information on the right-hand side, you'll see an area called Member Resources, and the Member Quote Kit is located there. This is a really handy kit to use, and it helps you easily organize and compare your quotes. Also included on this is on the right-hand side, a sheet that you'll fill out based on the specs of what your needs are, what your project is. The supplier will fill out their offer based on those requirements and return it back to you signed. So this is really nice. As you're getting quotes from other suppliers, you and the supplier that presented you with this sheet will always be on the same page. There's no question where you left off in negotiations because you have a signed copy of the quote. We do recommend that you keep a copy of this worksheet in your files in case you're audited. And this sheet, nor are the 3 to 4 recommended quotes mandatory, but paired together, they're a really great way to make sure that you're getting the best value for the supplier that you most want to work with. Before I wrap up my presentation today, I do want to point out our training area that'll be really helpful for long-term CoStars members who may be training new staff on CoStars to get them involved in purchasing through the program, but also to any attendee who is not yet a member of the program. These trainings aren't new, but we did create a new link to access them. So I just quickly wanted to go over them. So again, back at that CoStars main page on the DGS site, this time we would select CoStars Process Online Trainings. And in the middle of the top part of the page gives you instructions on how to use these step-by-step modules, which is that first section of this section right here. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but that first grouping are step-by-step training modules. And the instructions at the top tell you how to change the view. It opens up to a view that I find visually confusing. So I like the simulation view. And if you want to change the view, just look at those instructions and it'll tell you how. The center of the section is all member trainings, and at the very bottom it's supplier trainings. So like I said, that first clump of links are step-by-step trainings, but the very last one is a link to our our webinar recordings that we've done in 2021, and we'll continue to post new ones there as we've recorded them. So the first webinar in this area gives a nice overview of the program, and if you want a refresher in the future on searching, there's a search demo in that first recording. Also, if you're training new users, that'd be a great resource for them to get their arms around the CoStars program and how to use it. So I've come to the end of my presentation. I do want to share the contact information for the CoStars team. I'm providing our toll-free number and our resource email because with the fact that we are now allowed to go back on the road, I might not be in the office all the time. So those two communication methods point to our team. So if I'm out of the office, somebody knows that you're reaching out with questions and can help you. And we also are available on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Does anybody have any questions? Since I haven't been monitoring, let me close out my presentation here and stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Felicia. That was some great, very helpful information.
That was helpful. Good.
Yes. Jess Shilliday did have a question.
Yes.
She asked if there is a fee for a CoStars membership.
There is not a fee to participate in the program on the member side. The suppliers do have an annual participation fee, and that's what helps to pay for the program. But the members, our whole goal around the CoStars program is to save our local public procurement units as much money in procurement as possible. So we would certainly never charge them because we're trying to save them money for their citizens so their service capabilities can go further.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jess says thank you as well.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions for Felicia while we have her here? Yes, what you presented was so very helpful for those of us that are involved at all with purchasing and RFPs. I can't thank you enough for sharing your time and your information with us today.
You're welcome. And I actually have a quick note for Jess. I took a note down on the deadline for your 904. And I'm going to plan on cross-promoting that since, you know, our CoStars members would definitely be the audience that would need to know that information. So I'll cross-promote that for you as well.
And Felicia as well, if you ever go on the DEP website on that financial assistance page, that's where we have all of the 900 series of our grants. And those are the most up-to-date deadlines that we have on there, because I know a lot of folks use CoStars for their 902 grants as well.
Okay.
So that's another good deadline to know.
Yep. I'm making that note.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And AJ asks, will this specific recording be available for later viewing? And yes, AJ, if I did everything correctly, I will be sharing the recording with everybody on the municipal level after the meeting. So great. All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you again, Felicia. I am going to start to share my screen again for my PowerPoint. Just a moment. All right. And Pam is asking, will PowerPoint slides be sent out? And yes, I do plan to do that as well. Great. Thank you so much. All right. Bear with me just a moment. Okay, so we are going to skip down to our annual report. Okay, everybody, I'm back. Sorry about that. I assume that you can probably see the screen that says annual report or something to that effect. And we're going to move forward. Sorry for all the interruptions. So the annual municipal recycling report is a program that most of you have worked with me before on, and we do this report because the Pennsylvania Act 101, Municipal Waste and Recycling Planning and Reduction Act requires us to do the report. We work together, county and municipal providers, recycling coordinators work together so that we can maintain a database on recycling and waste reduction in the state of Pennsylvania. This will be a review for some of you, and for some of you who are brand new, this may go a little fast for you, but please know that I can visit you at any time to go over in greater detail. I'm available, on the phone, email, whatever questions you may have. Okay, so to do the annual municipal report, where should municipalities gather their data from? So we want to gather data from many different sources. And there are some forms that we can provide to you to gather the information that you need. They are termed the DEP FM11, FM12, and FM13 forms. Please know that you are not required to use the forms, but you must gather all of the information included on them. So if you choose to make your own form, just please make sure that you're including all of the information as you send it out to the different entities. Okay. So the FM12 is the transporter hauler recycling report form. This is the form that you'll send to your hauler so that you can get information from them as to what types of materials and what tonnages were gathered in your municipality over the past year. The FM12 is one of the forms that I will send to you. Please remember to send this form not just to the hauler that services your municipal contract for your residents, but to all of the haulers that might service your businesses within your municipality. The three main haulers that we use in York County are Penn Waste, Republic Services, and Waste Management. So it's a good idea to send this form out to all three of those companies to gather information from the haulers, because even though one of them may service your residential contract, it's possible that all three of them are working within your municipality to service your businesses and institutions. Okay. Another form that you will be sending out is the FM11, or your commercial, municipal, institutional recycling report form. This particular form goes out to all of your businesses, all of your government offices, churches, institutions, medical institutions, that you will ask them to also submit information to you about the types of materials that were recycled and the tonnages that were also recycled. So there is a portion of this form, if you use the FM11 that I provide to you, that says to the business, if you do not transport your own recyclables, do your own hauling, don't enter the tonnages on the form, skip over that section and make sure that you just enter the company that you have hauling your recyclables. Then this helps us to avoid double counting. But you still may get information from that business, and that's great. You can sort of double check that, you know, what the business is reporting and what the hauler is reporting is the same. But they may opt to not fill out the form in completion, just, you know, tell you who their hauler was so that you know who has the record of their tonnages. Okay, so that's what you want to send to your commercial and institutional establishments. Okay, now we want to make sure that we are collecting information only about post-consumer materials. So you can see from the diagram below that, you know, businesses often make products that are sold in a retail store or go directly to a home. Somebody uses that product, say it's water, and they recycle the bottle, they put the bottle into the recycling bin, and that becomes a post-consumer product. Now, within that business, they may also have overruns or different materials that that are unusable, that never went to a consumer, but are also quote unquote recycled or reused. We don't want a record of those materials. For this particular report, we want to know about post-consumer recycled materials only. So if your businesses have any questions about that, make sure that you do clarify. And it says on the form as well that that's the material that is supposed to be submitted. Okay, we also want to only count tonnages from processors that were produced in their own offices. So say that you have a metal scrapyard who would normally share recycling data with you. Because the source of those materials could be pre-consumer, because the source of those materials could be from outside of your county as well, we don't want to take a report from them of everything that they took in from, you know, in their processes. We only want to talk about what they themselves recycled in their own offices, office paper, you know, materials from lunchroom and different office things, not what they have recycled as a metal scrapyard business. It's come to our attention that construction and demolition materials are underreported. We have been researching at the Solid Waste Authority different companies that are in the business of recycling these types of materials. And I don't believe that they are making it onto our report. So if you have a company within your municipality that is in the business of recycling construction and demolition materials, if you could reach out to them especially and just find out, you know, how their tonnages are being monitored, if they're being weighed, if they're not, if they have volume reports, we can actually interpret then the weight. We can convert the volume to the weight, and I'll talk about that just a little bit later with another form. We also think that donated and recycled, donated materials to our donation centers around the county are underreported. So again, clothing, textiles, furniture, other consumer items that may not be being weighed, if they are being tracked by volume, by number somehow, we've done some research and we have conversion charts that will help us to tell a little bit better what materials are being recycled, what the weights of those materials might be. So if you have a donation center or a reuse store in your community, if you could reach out to them especially as well, that would be great. Okay, so you want to send this form to volunteer groups that collect recyclables too. There aren't as many out there as there used to be, but there still are some out there, and we want to make sure that we're getting information from any scout groups or nonprofit groups that are collecting recyclables. So the FM13, I will not be sending that form out to you. If for some reason you get a hold of the FM13, please disregard this report. You do not need to submit any countywide information that you are a part of, unless you think I'm unaware of it for the county altogether. We do get some reports from paper shredders, some different businesses that give us county-wide data that can't be split up into municipality, and that this particular form would be for them. Okay, so want to make sure that you definitely include this important date on your form if you're not using the FM11 or FM12. Your commercial, institutional, and recycling hauler forms are due back to you by February 1st. This gives you enough time to submit the data, compile the data, and submit it to me. So please make sure that you include that date on your form, and plan to send this form out in just a few weeks in December. So that gives all of those entities enough time to gather and prepare the data and send it to you. Conversions. So all data for the annual municipal recycling report must be reported in tons, and you will probably receive information in pounds, or could be some gallons, volume, could be different measurements that it's sent to you. Please make sure that if the conversion is not already done by the business or institution, that you do the conversion before you send the data to me. And we've always sent conversion charts out to the municipalities. This year, I have expanded and reorganized the conversion chart. There's a lot more information on there. Again, we're trying to capture the construction and demolition recycling, as well as some of the other donated consumer material recycling. So this new version of the conversion chart is now in the order of materials as they appear on the report form. Hopefully that's helpful. And if you find that there's a material that you want to report that there is no conversion for, please let me know. There's lots of information. A lot of this information came from the EPA, but we can get additional information to try to find the correct weight measurement for whatever you want to report. Okay, now I wanted to touch on statewide data for those of you who have done the report before, especially those of you in larger, more densely populated municipalities that have what we call box stores, large grocery store chains, Walmarts or Targets. There will be reports that I send to you that are sent to me from a statewide coordinator. So there's a couple reasons that we do this. The statewide data is a program where we reach out to large companies such as Walmart, Giant, very large box stores, so that they can submit one report that county coordinators then distribute to municipalities, rather than hearing from every municipality where each one of those stores is located. As you can imagine, this could be hundreds of reports for them to do. So we find that the reports come out much quicker if they are part of this network, and they submit one report that we can then submit to you. So I will be sending you a list of businesses that are participating in statewide data. If you see that one of these businesses is located in your community, please do not send them a request for information. They will probably disregard it because they know that they'll be submitting the information statewide. I will provide the data to you as it is received. Sometimes these reports still take a little bit longer for whatever reason. We try to get them to you as quickly as possible. Please do not submit your annual report to me until you have received all of the statewide data that applies to your municipality. There's a due date, which is February 15th, that everything is supposed to be submitted to me. But realistically, we always have businesses, especially in the statewide data category, that submit information after that. Please don't send a partial report, because you'll have to complete the rest of the information and submit it to me. You will not be penalized for submitting a late report if you are waiting for statewide data. Thanks. Okay, here's just a large, overview of what the report looks like that you will send to me. So I will also send a copy of this form to you. And this is the form on which you compile all of the data that you received from your haulers, from your commercial entities, and you then submit to me. The very first page of the recycling report form is some informational material. So it's not just contact information, it's information about your recycling program. I'll be asking on there if you have a recycling ordinance. If you do, if you could give me that ordinance number. Do you have a drop-off program? Is it strictly curbside? What type of materials do you accept? I will also put information on there about your recycling hauler contract and your yard waste programs. So this is all information that I track and helps me to see, well, the state tracks it as well, not just me, helps us all to keep a good idea of what is going on in York County as far as recycling and contracts. That some of that information is very important, and we do keep that up to date. Just to clarify, because I usually get some confusion over ordinance, when I ask, do you have a mandatory recycling ordinance? You're not just putting information in there if you have an ordinance that pertains to recycling. Your recycling ordinance must state that residents must participate. I know that might seem somewhat obvious, but it's sort of confusing. And ordinances, recycling ordinances, can have a lot of words and verbiage in it. So just know that when I ask about the mandatory recycling ordinance, if you're going to answer yes to that, you must know that your ordinance says that all residents must participate. Okay, also to clarify pay as you throw. So pay as you throw pertains to you offering prepaid bags or tags that residents purchase as an alternative to having a weekly service. So this is a program that would encourage residents to recycle more and to really be conscious of the amount of trash that they're putting out. So if you have a weekly toter service, or say 4 to 6 bags that any of your residents can put out on a weekly basis, that doesn't qualify as pay as you throw. This would be like a resident coming in and purchasing 18, 20 bags, whatever the minimum is, or more, or tags to place on bags. That's what they just use them as they go, rather than having a weekly service. If you ever have any questions about that, please ask. Okay, so you want to make sure that you compile the data from all of your sources, add those tonnage totals to the report. You'll see when you take a look at the report form, there are many different categories on there that you're reporting, and then you're going to do grand totals for residential curbside, residential drop-off, commercial curbside, and commercial drop-off. Okay, so just to reiterate, the report is due to me by February 15th. If you are receiving no statewide data, or if you receive all of your statewide data that is applicable to your municipality, if it's received by February 8th. If you still have statewide data that is not received by February 8th, just wait until you have all of your data, and you're welcome to shoot me an email and say, oh, I'm just making sure, you don't need my report or whatever. That's fine. I will confirm with you, but please know that you will not be penalized for submitting a late report just because you're waiting for statewide data that will come from me. Additional documentation. The last couple of years, I've been asking for some of the information that has been submitted to you by your businesses and institutions, just to clarify sometimes how you come to the totals that you have. It can help if I think there might be an error in a report. You don't have to send me paper copies. If you have an Excel spreadsheet or Word document where you've compiled all the information from your businesses, that would be great if you can send a copy to me electronically, or at least if I request it and you haven't sent it to me, if you're able to send, if I have a question, that is very helpful. Okay. And I just want to remind everybody just to not hesitate to ask for help. There could be a lot of confusion and questions over the municipal report. I'm happy to visit and go over things with you, as I said, or I can help you through email or phone calls. Please ask questions whenever you may have any. And if you have a question now, please feel free to unmute and ask, or I will check chat here. Not seeing anything in the chat at the moment. Okay. Okay. All right, then we're going to move on to one more section here. All right. So new this year, I've been working on a commercial and institutional recycling program guide and assistance program that I wanted to roll out at this time. So the guide will show the steps that a business or an institution should take to make sure that they have an efficient and well-run recycling program, or it will help them to start a program if they haven't had one in the past and are interested in starting one. This may be particularly helpful if we have some municipalities that are mandated to recycle as a result of the census. There may be a lot more questions for you as municipal recycling coordinators about recycling programs in your businesses. So just briefly to go over the steps that are listed on the guide, it's going to just talk about assembling a recycling team and who should be part of that team in the business, how to conduct a waste audit, and that has nothing to do with finances. That's going to look at what's in the trash, what's in the recycling at a business, and see if the proper things are being recycled or additional materials could be recycled. So it's also determining the hauler for recyclables, or who's going to transport those materials, what materials will be collected, how to educate and promote the program, and how to evaluate the program once it is established. So this guide will offer free assistance from myself at the York County Solid Waste Authority to start a new recycling program if they don't already have one, or to evaluate and improve an existing business or institutional recycling program. And this is what the guide looks like. Just abbreviated, just one page. I'm asking if you could please send the guide out with your annual municipal recycling report forms to all of your businesses and institutions this year. I thought it would be a good time to make the offer when they're already thinking about recycling and doing their reporting, to offer assistance with their program as well. So in the next upcoming week or so, before the 1st of December, I will be sending out all these forms to you, and I will include the guide and also a letter that you can share with the businesses, kind of explaining the purpose of this program. And please do not be shy if you would like to request assistance with your recycling program at your municipal office. I would be happy to help, and more than happy to show you how the program works. Maybe then after you see how it works, you would be able to explain better to any businesses that are interested in your community the value or the benefits of going through a waste evaluation. Okay. Any questions about the new guide. Any questions? Okay. All right. And lastly, I just want to remind everybody about some of the resources we have here at the York County Solid Waste Authority to help you to support your programs. One particular guide that we brought out last year at this time is the best practices for waste and recycling contracts, bids, and service options. If you attended the meeting last year, you might remember conversations with our haulers and the research that we did to come up with this guide. And I send it out every time I contact a municipality when I think that they are nearing the end of their contract. That's one of the reasons that I really like to know the information about your contract, so I can be proactive and reach out to you and give you a chance, to ask any questions of myself or the management of the recycling division, so that we can help you when you're going into a new bid or contract time. And I'll keep sending the guide out and keep touching base. But if there's ever a time where you need it or you need help, just reach out to me. Okay. I am more than happy to come out and help you in person or virtually with waste and recycling bid packages, ordinances, your annual report, your recycling grant applications, and disaster debris planning as well. That is an area that I have been researching and working with the county on, and I'll probably share some more information about that in the future. But if that is a concern of your municipality, would be happy to talk to you about that area as well. Thank you, Abby, for your comment about the guide. Appreciate it. Okay, and we also have the Yuckswa disposal search tool. The picture here is how you find it on our homepage, and it's a search tool where we use keywords that you can type in just about any keyword, and you can find out ways to donate, recycle, or dispose of that particular item. And it's found on the homepage of our website, www.yuckswa.com. It's in the center of the homepage. There's a space right there to type in any item that you wish to dispose of. And if you ever type in any material there and nothing comes up, please let me know, because we're always looking for new materials that we can add to the disposal search tool. And we love your input when it comes to any information that you can share with us. Okay, there are also some links that we love for you to share to our website, to share information with your residents and businesses on your own websites. The disposal search tool, as I mentioned, York County curbside and drop-off recycling information, the electronics recycling information, and the York County HHW waste information. So the links are all here in the PowerPoint, and I will share them with you as well. We appreciate any information that you share on your websites, but links are especially helpful. That way, if we make a change to the information on our website, it will always be current on yours. So we thank you for sharing those links. Please stay in touch with us. We have many ways that you can follow us. Here's a list of some of the social media areas that we are that we share information on. And you can also sign up for Yuckswa email updates. Okay. And that wraps up our program here today. I thank you for tuning in. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So I'm checking the chat right now. Right. Okay, well, thank you to all that attended and shared today. Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties. And I wish everybody a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season. Looking forward to maybe seeing you in person in the new year. Take care all. Have a great day.